Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking what is, without a doubt, one of America's strangest and most enduring urban mysteries. Think about a puzzle that quite literally paved the streets of our infrastructure, completely baffling everyone who walked or drove right over it for decades. We're talking about the asphalt prophecies, the Toynbee Tiles. These aren't hidden away in some remote desert or blocked up in a dusty basement archive. No, they were embedded in the crosswalks of the absolute dead center of major metropolis. It's this massive enigma of sheer scale, stealth, and, bizarre obsession that actually continues to captivate investigators to this very day.
Picture this for a second. You wake up, you grab your morning coffee, and you step out into the bustling streets of your city. Thousands of people are rushing to work around you, stomping over the grit of the asphalt, completely unaware of this profound mystery sitting right beneath their shoes. But as you cross the road, you look down and see something literally impossible. Strange, cryptic messages embedded right into the ground. They for sure weren't there yesterday. There are no road crews in sight, no wet cement, just this permanent, bizarre mosaic staring right back at you, completely surrounded by the blur of morning traffic. Who put them there? And honestly, more importantly, how did they manage to pull off such a highly visible act of vandalism without a single person noticing?
Okay, let's dive into this. The phenomenon didn't just happen overnight. This massive mystery really kicked off in a specific, 3-year window, right between 1983 and 1985. And these unexplainable tiles, they didn't just appear in one quiet, isolated neighborhood, right? No, they suddenly began showing up across major U.S. cities. We're talking about Philadelphia, New York, Boston, literally some of the most heavily surveilled and densely populated areas in the whole country. It was this massive geographical spread happening right under everyone's noses. It created a nationwide breadcrumb trail that honestly left authorities entirely stumped.
Now, the circumstances surrounding these appearances are frankly mind-boggling. They appeared overnight, there were absolutely no witnesses, and nobody knew who was placing them. Just take a second to think about the logistics of that. Carving into the asphalt of a major city street and setting a permanent tile usually requires heavy machinery, road closures, bright orange cones everywhere. Yet whoever was doing this executed the whole thing in complete darkness. How? Well, the ingenuity is pretty staggering. The creator wasn't out there with a jackhammer. Actually, they used a highly specific, totally clandestine method. They'd card these messages into pieces of standard linoleum, wrap that linoleum in tar paper, and then discreetly drop the whole package out of a moving car directly into a busy intersection. And the absolute genius part? They just let the city do the work. The blazing summer heat, combined with the relentless pressure of thousands of car tires, would slowly bake and press the tar paper down, melting the linoleum right into the street. By the time that tar paper wore away weeks later, boom, the permanent tile was revealed. So the crucial point is, what did these tiles actually say? You'd probably think a secret message embedded in a city street might be, a political protest or maybe some avant-garde local advertisement. Far from it. The core messages plastered on these roads read exactly like this. Toynbee idea in movie 2001, resurrect dead on planet Jupiter. Yeah, it is a wildly jarring thing to read while you're just standing there waiting for the walk signal. It references Arnold Toynbee, the famous 20th century British historian, and then ties his philosophical ideas directly to Stanley Kubrick's iconic sci-fi film, 2001: A Space Odyssey. This author was making a deeply esoteric, almost prophetic declaration about space travel and human resurrection, and they were baking it right into the mundane infrastructure of the morning commute. Wild, right?
Now, you might hope that as more and more of these tiles appeared, the puzzle would kind of start to piece itself together, but the exact opposite happened. The messages didn't clarify the author's intent. They became increasingly mysterious. Instead of giving investigators a clear path, the text on the asphalt evolved into this crazy labyrinth of confusing clues. The tiles began to feature sprawling, paranoid rants. We're talking entire manifestos baked into the tar, outlining vast conspiracies, complaining about the mainstream media, taking aim at the FBI, and even alleging mafia intimidation. The whole scope of the project was morphing from a bizarre sci-fi statement into a highly personal, deeply paranoid cry for help, broadcast directly into the pavement.
Naturally, this massive and weirdly public display sparked an equally massive hunt. It became an absolute obsession for an entire community of people. Way before true crime podcasts were a thing, amateur sleuths were gathering on early internet message boards just to swap coordinates of new tile sightings. Documentary filmmakers literally dedicated years of their lives to the chase, and journalists relentlessly followed this trail of linoleum. They chased down leads across state lines, they analyzed the materials, they mapped the locations, the whole shebang. Yet, despite this intense, relentless scrutiny, the creator's identity remained completely hidden for decades. Let that sink in. It is incredibly rare in modern history for someone to execute such a wide-scale, highly physical project and remain entirely anonymous for that long.
And this brilliantly illustrates the central conflict of a whole investigation. This decades-long frustration ultimately split investigators into two completely different camps. On one side, some folks believed a secret organization simply had to be responsible. I mean, the sheer geographic footprint was staggering. These tiles weren't just popping up in the Northeast anymore. Suddenly, they were being found as far away as South America, appearing right on the streets of Buenos Aires and Rio de Janeiro. It absolutely screamed of a coordinated, well-funded network. But on the flip side, others thought it was the obsessive work of a lone genius, a single, highly driven individual with a modified car, driving thousands of miles in the dead of night, executing a singular, bizarre vision without ever slipping up or telling a soul.
So, will the mastermind behind one of America's strangest urban mysteries ever truly be uncovered? Whatever the real answer is, the Toynbee Tiles have absolutely cemented their place as a legendary piece of folklore. They're a permanent scar of weirdness left right on our city streets. Even if we think we have the answers today, the sheer scale, secrecy, and just the downright strangeness of those asphalt prophecies will always leave us wondering about the invisible people who move among us, leaving their mark in the dark. So next time you cross the street, take a second to look down. You just might find yourself standing right on top of an unsolved puzzle.